Good morning and welcome to SHOWstudio. Menswear season autumn winter 2017, and this morning we're going to be discussing a very exciting Balenciaga menswear show. It's the second menswear show in the whole history of the brand, and it's also delivered by one of fashion's favorite heroes, I think, of recent years, Dasha. So we're all very excited, and to make sense of the show today, I have a wonderful set of panelists. So I would like to ask you guys to introduce yourselves. Starting from you, Mimma.
Good morning, I'm Mimma Viglezio. I'm a creative and management consultant.
I'm Dino Bonacic, and I'm the editor of Because magazine.
I'm Dasha Selyanova, and I'm a fashion designer. I design for DDZ.
Thank you guys, thank you so much for joining this morning. Dasha is obviously probably the most discussed person in fashion, for quite a while, and I think it was impossible to start any discussion on fashion, mention fashion without mentioning him in 2016. And out of sort of all the press he got, I think one of the most interesting pieces, which I would like to sort of throw in before we discuss the show, was New York Times 2016 sort of roundup fashion piece, which was called "When It Became Cool to Be Cool," which drew on work of Dasha, Gosha Rubchinskiy, and Alexander Michele for Gucci. And I would like to read you out a little bit from that piece to sort of start the thing going. So, designers until recently on the fringe have been invited to the establishment, bringing with them friends, collaborators, and models who eschew a traditional glossy aesthetic for something more personal, or, to use the year's most conflicted yet overindulged compliment, authentic. They privilege the individual over collective, the subculture over the culture, and the friends over professional, in a suddenly profitable celebration of free to be you and me. Suddenly, or so it seemed in 2016, it became cool to be cool. So basically, starting with this, I just wanted to get your opinion on this sort of dichotomy of friends over professionals and authentic over glossy and outsider versus mainstream. So do you think this is sort of the strength which brought Dasha to the top, this outsider thing, and does it still exist now?
I do. I think it's more than that. I think the key words in that, was that Vanessa Friedman in the New York Times?
No, it wasn't.
Lizzie
it
Payton.
definitely wasn't.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't remember the piece, but I think the most important thing to say about these designers, and it was written there, it's the freedom that they brought. And I always said that I think they liberated fashion in a way that they gave us the right to be fashionable, but the way we want to. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's what was very relevant to the people, not only the press that notice, but also the people in the street that want to wear what they do. And of course, then it has changed the style of the high street, because not everybody can afford blah, blah, blah. But for me, the most important thing, and that's why they stood out so much, is that they liberated fashion. And they gave something to everybody to wear the way you want, to like, dislike, mix, and that for me is the most important thing of this new way of doing and wearing and loving or hating fashion.
But can I then just bring up, did they really liberate it, or did they just kind of change the chains from, all the big Pradas and all those like kind of Versace's and that, and chained all the other people to Vêtements and Balenciaga and Gosha Rubchinskiy? Because I think it's now, I don't think that much has changed, and then that's one of my personal issues with Balenciaga, is that not much has changed. They're kind of just changing the look, but everything else is staying the same. They're very exclusive about who's cool and who's not. They're very specific about who they're collaborating with. You've got, Lotte Volkova walking in the show, and like kind of all of their friends are walking in the show instead of models. Hence you have like 2 black models in the show, or no black models in the show. So I think it's kind of like very, I think it's still very, very traditional in what their idea of fashion is. I think they're still showing like a show.
You don't agree?
I didn't. Well, no, I hear
yeah.
exactly what you say, and I don't disagree with what you say. But I also think that you're saying, no, you're not saying the same. But I think that when I talk about liberating, it's not the system. I agree with you about the system. It's the way I dress. Because today you can be cool or feel cool or whatever. Does it matter? Exactly, does it matter in wearing classic or not classic, in mixing color, in mixing style, and that's psychologically I think it matters. Then the system, the money, the fact that they dictate their own style and the style and they cast the models according to their aesthetic, that will never change, will it?
Hopefully, I'd like to believe that. But I think, I think aesthetically they did definitely revolutionize fashion in that way. I think,
and that's why they stood out. Then you can like it or not, but that's why they not killed, but had the older one, the Versaces and the Miuccias and the Carl. Maybe he's the only one who doesn't really care. But they made him wake up and say, "Whoa, you know, we're not in command anymore. There's something happening here. What are we going to do about it?"
I mean, I'm sort of, it's an interesting paradox here you mentioned, that on one hand it's very inclusive cool, so like, you know, the crew, the gang, you should be like us to be cool, but on the other hand it is a massive liberation, I do agree, and also on sort of a physical and the level of body, particularly for women, I think, because you don't have to wear heels. You don't have to wear heels in fashion anymore. The oversized means that you don't actually have to be skinny to look stylish. You can, because it's like
oversized,
double XL. So pretty much any body type looks good in it, which is one of my favorite things about this kind of style, and that's actually why I would be sad if it goes in a couple of years. But I wanted to ask you, Dasha, do you think the whole sort of Whitman approach is influential in terms of design? Do you think it changed the way young designers approach, the way they work, the way they design? Did it change anything for you personally?
I think definitely you can't ignore the like ripple effect that it had on even on Celine. I hate to say that. I love Phoebe Philo. She's like I think she's the ultimate icon for me, and she has the most integrity to me. But you could see everything became slightly slouchy, slightly more oversized,
Even slouchier than
I think, well, yeah, it's in a different way. I don't know. Well, I'm sure you've seen the show. Definitely a lot of Russian designers. We have the whole new wave of Russian designers just basically doing Denver now. And not even like feeling weird about saying that that's what they're doing and they're inspired by him. I think it is, I'd be careful with the word liberation as well. I think it's a clever, I think a huge part of his success is the ability to travel from uptown to downtown and connecting those two worlds, and it's really important in making something feel raw but then still very high profile, successful but approachable, and like to still keep the trust that all these kids have. Like, I don't know about actually the luxury world, if they trust, like if they still think I'm buying into something Balenciaga, or am I buying now in Vetmont, or am I buying, what am I buying?
That's a good point. I think that's something we should discuss.
Because it's so, I feel like it became the boundaries very blurred now. So
Hi guys, welcome back. I'm sorry, we had a slight technical issue, which gave us an opportunity to continue the discussion of
We never stopped.
I'll just basically bring us back to, we just couldn't stop talking about it, which is good. So I'll just bring us back to this idea we were discussing of basically, it changes our perception of luxury, the fact that the lines between, like the whole Demna's creativity and ideas really blur the lines between two brands he's working for. But one which is supposed to be very underground and very sort of now cutting edge, rough kind of thing, and also Balenciaga, which is supposed to be still luxury, elegance, like unique, one of a kind kind of pieces. So what do you guys think about that? Is that the real change which he's bringing?
I think it's the opposite. I think exactly. I think like now it's Vêtements that's all about being unique and like because it's like one piece or whatever, and then Balenciaga is kind of like more mass produced, let's say so, because it's we just talked about it. There's like they have more resources. They're made in the same factories where Gucci's made. Their price point is much more accessible than Vêtements because, as I just said off camera, like the pair of jeans from Balenciaga, they're like £350 and the Vêtements ones are 800 or 900 pounds. But yesterday I was in Dover Street Market and you can see the Vêtements rail on sale. It's like 50% off, which I was like really weirded out by because I was not expecting to see Vêtements on sale because nothing else is on sale in Dover Street. But it was there, like those sock boots, the leather jackets and stuff like that.
But I think that's the discussion, because one thing is being the most wanted, coveted, whatever, and the other thing is to be sort of accessible. We're talking fashion and luxury, so it will never be completely accessible. And my problem with Vêtements that I particularly love, so I'm biased on the positive side for many other reasons, not only what I said, but also aesthetically. But my problem with it is the price, exactly. And I think for the idea of it, how it was created and why, and what Demna and his brother say, it's too expensive because nobody can afford it. But as Dasha was saying, some people that maybe they don't even want to wear it. And maybe you want to say what you were saying about who wears Vêtements in Russia, you know. And it's not cool street people.
I mentioned that basically. Vêtements, of course, I mean, in Russia it has, and in Georgia, I think it had like a massive effect in terms of everybody's into it because I guess they treat them as sort of their
national treasure.
Compatriots, I don't know, Russian people. So basically, all the Russian it girls and pop stars, celebrities started wearing Vêtements, which really made it increasingly uncool among the
unattractive,
unattractive to like younger. But then, younger customer could never afford it anyway.
Exactly, so because they are the only one who can afford it. And as you were saying, Balenciaga, it's paradoxically cheaper than Vêtements, more accessible.
But I think also like in London, I mean, if you see a person wearing a Vêtements jumper, it's not really that cool anymore, I think. I think there's so many more brands now that are becoming cooler increasingly. And, you know, like things like, I don't know, Kiko Kostadinov, who's like now becoming the creative director at Macintosh, is like a London boy. And he's kind of now being celebrated by similar, I would say, aesthetically people that would love Vêtements. And now if I see someone out and about in like Dalston wearing, or like Hackney, whatever, in a Vêtements jumper, I don't think people would think, oh my God, that's a cool person. I think people would think, oh, that's like a trendy person that just went from Shoreditch to London, who has like a lot of money. Well, I don't know. I think I'm like maybe coming from a perspective of like me and my.
But let's talk more fashion than society. What I think Demna did, which is very important, and Alessandra in another way, is to move the fashion looks and designs and styles forward. And as we said before, everybody's been influenced, including Phoebe. I think Phoebe was probably there before with some chic slouchy look. I mean, I think she's probably one of the greatest innovators of all time. So, but we'll talk about Celine in a different panel. But I think if we talk fashion more than what cool means, which I think cool is becoming uncool as a word itself.
Absolutely.
But if we talk about fashion, we cannot deny that he moved forward shapes and designs and ways of wearing, and I think that's very important. And we had, you know, Gautier at the time, and Nicolas, and Miuccia, and they're not gone, but now we have them now. We cannot deny that.
2016 is going to be, and my probably 2015 is going to be remembered by that particular
puffer jacket
look. But also, I think one of the greatest contributions of the whole Whitman craze is the fact that we openly discuss the fact, does it have to cost that much? Does in what amount it has to be produced? Because this is one of the major questions in fashion in general.
Yeah.
Basically, to look at the whole thing and say, look, I mean, does this sweatshirt worth this money? And
it's interesting because with Balenciaga, when he got appointed to the role in Balenciaga, from what I know from just reading about it, is that the first thing that he did, he put Balenciaga's logo on a snapback cap, so like to make it more accessible.
It's 200 pounds.
Well, but it's interesting that, so thinking that way for Balenciaga, but then making that hoodies 8, whatever, I don't know how much they cost, 100 pounds, like it's, so maybe it's something, they're very calculated label, Batmon. So I doubt it was something that, it just happened. Like we didn't calculate the production costs correctly. So there must be some intention.
But I mean, the first, you know, those Polizei parkas that they had, like those long black jackets that were like windbreakers that had Polizei on the back. That was like their first or second collection. They were like 100 pounds or so. They weren't, you know, I think it went through the roof in the last few years when they started being stocked at the Overstreet Market.
So you think it's strategic that they went more expensive?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was
it's too expensive.
No, I would agree. I think it's a massive play on the very idea of hype and desire. The fact, because they released this very interesting item, which was a authorized bootleg of their own stuff, which was 200 pounds instead of 800. So it's like these are people who do understand the idea of copy original and why you want things. So
I mean,
maybe just taking a piece. Maybe it's like a huge. I think because they're clever dudes, so I'm sure it can't be just like oops.
Hence why it's called vêtements. It's just clothes. I mean, you know.
So I think it's just like a very clever.
Yeah, but if they did that, they're taking a piece of all of us. But then if you say it's the only brand on sales in Dover Street, then it's backfiring in a way.
But that's what I think. I think what you were saying about, for example, being like the new Mucha, being the new Phoebe or whatever, I think their moment, because it is, okay, now we're doing that stupid thing, social media age or whatever, it's passed so much more quicker than Galliano at the time or Tom Ford. So I think it just exploded, and I think the problem is it's getting backlash, and it's getting people are, and I know you don't like to say cool, but people are thinking of it, less cool. But for example, I mean, they are taking a piss of that. I think what he's doing, again, from the brand's title and from the ideas as in the DHL t-shirt, that I really don't understand why would anyone give so much money for that, because you can actually buy it for £10 from DHL.
But that's a beauty, no? It's like
exactly.
And sort of.
But it was funny to read what DHL said when
they released it. They are not regarded.
So funny. But I think the DHL t-shirt was a gimmick, a PR gimmick. I don't think they sold many. And
they actually did. They were stocked on matches in Net-a-Porter, and they were sold out.
But you see, I love that, because it just puts in the mirror to the people who do that. And
are they changing
it's a social experiment. That's what I love about it. I admire the fact that they did the whole thing. I don't like the designs
like you said, and I think they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure Demna and his brother are very clever. Yeah. What they're going to do from now on, by the way, they're showing the couture, I guess, right? And then we should go back to Balenciaga. But what they're going to do from now on is moving on from that, but dictating some kind of fashion. And I think he's doing it with Balenciaga also. We should be talking about men's here, but we don't have a lot of history for him. But, I think he's doing it a lot with Balenciaga, and some people say, it's a sacrilege that Balenciaga is in his hands. I think it's cool. So it's cool in the modern sense of the word.
Yeah, what I actually wanted to ask you is, we sort of see a lot of very exciting things happening with brands with great history and heritage, like let's say Gucci and Alexander McQueen, and let's say Balenciaga, and basically wanted to, get your opinion on what makes a successful reinvention of the brand today. What do you think matters? Is it, are you still supposed to treat history and heritage with that much respect, or is it more about yourself and just putting your individual input forward, or what do you think is that?
I think it's luck, a lot of sense of humor, because if you think about like Alessandro Michele, if you think about J.W. Anderson with Lele, if you now think about Demna with Balenciaga, I think all of them have a sense of humor. I don't think that Wang had a sense of humor at all of looking at the heritage.
So
he was looking at it super seriously. I don't think, for example, Justin O'Shea at Brioni, I think he had too much of a humor. I think he didn't respect his heritage enough, probably, and he like went, oh, the show is starting.
He was doing himself.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's like kind of a mixture of things. We're seeing the boots are back, okay?
Yeah, great. So.
Okay. Okay. Should we live comment on it, or?
Yeah, you kind of.
It's.
You like something? Though?
I mean,
Military Russian codes, that's what I see.
Yeah. It's
What did you
very
say? Russian?
Military Russian codes,
Yeah.
that's what I see.
Codes,
I
Soviet.
feel like that, Soviet, yeah.
fascist, kind of, a bit.
I mean,
They're gonna hate
obviously
me
you're-
for saying that, but it is, you know, like a brown suit, very, very skinny, serious guy cannot not give like
Barsetka.
you know, like
Cannot not give. I wanted to finish this.
I cannot not give like a kind of a slight post-Soviet fascist kind of
Yeah, but-
vibe. That's just how it is. It's like we can't escape from that.
But it's
Which is not
oversized
bad.
coats and oversized suits. I mean,
Man purse.
we were briefly talking about Milan that just ended, and Milan was incredibly normal. It was incredibly normal, but not normal only in a commercial sense. Also, it was for normal human beings that wear normal clothes in a different kind of style. And in a way, that's what it's doing here. Then
Like
it can be
more.
bigger. You can wear it with sneakers. You can wear it topless. You know, a cashmere coat, but
I do have one problem with
it's much more normal than expected. No.
Yeah, but you were saying about like what Vetements did for women, that it freed them up to be, you know, oversized and whatever.
Yeah.
What Balenciaga is now doing for the second season for men, it's showing that like the most skinniest, the most, you know, like one type of guy that's definitely not helping guys to feel better about themselves, you know. We're seeing the Balenciaga coat that was like the condom
Yeah,
one.
but then you can't say, you know, it's not Eddie Slimane. It's not like,
Yeah.
it's not incredible. It's
Well,
like,
kind of
you
is.
have, no, you have
Is
like
fashion
quite big
meant to
coats,
make you
yeah.
feel good about your? I mean, I agree that it's very Russian, it's very white, it's very skinny, it's
got
very
a
one style. But I mean,
I'm really sorry. I can't. I just cannot.
You just don't like
I
it.
don't. No. The clothes are like the clothes. I'm not don't have anything against. Okay, this is the second non-white person on the runway, so at least we're better up from like the last men's show.
Yeah, because they were accused
there was
of,
like like I mean the first men's had like one I think mixed race guy, but I'm not.
No,
you know
see,
what?
it's kind of
I
like
get a
Deborah's
lot of
shape.
hate when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'd rather someone putting the type of people he wants on their catwalk than forcing a black and an Asian man
yeah,
just because it's politically correct. I mean, for me, politically correct is my dream is that that's not an issue anymore because we're all human beings. And it's true that it has to be diverse. Please, people, don't hate me. I believe in diversity.
No,
But
I totally
if
agree.
Demna is there said, oh, I need a black man, let's take him. It's worst.
No, but it's okay. But I
just
mean, the
doesn't
problem
work.
is that he's thinking that way. I don't think the problem is that he's not forcing like black people into his runways. I think the problem is that he's kind of like thinking very singularly about it. But I think one thing that I have a problem with
They
this.
all look Russian.
Yeah, but why are the
No,
older
not to me, and not to me.
Not
I have
really.
to say, not
European,
really, yeah.
I'd say
I
European.
think-
Eastern European.
Yeah, well,
Really?
kind of.
Like,
Do they look like?
And look
I
at
don't-
them, they were blonde and pale with
I think
high
it's the
cheekbones.
Western idea of Eastern European
Yeah.
people rather
Maybe
than
it's wrong,
actually
but
Eastern
that's what it-
European.
yes.
Yeah, but
Because
I,
to me, it doesn't
They're
really
not
give off
Mediterranean.
this.
definitely not. I have a problem with the trousers. Are you saying like that they're like the fit is really off? I mean, I'm sure that they will say that it's really on purpose on the skinny ones.
Well, we probably will see them better when
Yeah, and
we
it's
see
in the still life. Like in the
photos.
skinny, like if they're like all bunched up on the top. I know it's like something very.
Oh, it's
But look-
definitely more streetwear than
Than the first show.
Why do
Yeah.
they? Or are those Balenciaga shopping
Paper
bag paper or leather? I mean, are they
Probably
Let's
gonna
go
sell
with
it
that.
for like
for like
probably.
£3,000?
Yes, exactly. I Do you think the men will buy any of these purses, or is it going to be
I
girls?
personally hate men's purse, but that's me. You know, it's.
I really like the shoe.
Oh my God, Kering! Oh wow!
Oh no, that's.
Oh wow!
That's too much.
It's the new DHL T-shirt. They're now doing it
But
with
that
Balenciaga.
he
He
do
did
you
with
think he's
Vêtements.
taking the piss? Or
Yeah, I think he's
or
making.
is-
No, I'm sure
like-
it's not serious. I mean, okay. Oh, I've got the shop. No, I think he's actually making fun of all of us that we're just looking at it now and talking about it seriously. I think he's basically kind of taking a piss out of us.
But they're
Really?
very
Do you think?
normal
Yeah.
clothes,
Yeah.
styled in a
Yeah.
funny way. No?
Yeah. No, I think he's like. See, you can see
But
the
that's-
trousers here that they're like really
Yeah.
badly like kind of fitted. But I assume that it's. I guess it's. Like it's.
But you know what? I look at it and what I see is what men actually could buy and wear.
I like the
don't you think-
Balenciaga heritage in the shape of the jacket on a man. That's quite funny, I think. Well, you can buy anything here and wear it the way you want. You can wear it.
So that's
classically, you
like-
it's very clever commercially.
But you can also go into like literally any. Okay, I have one thing with Balenciaga. I think what he did with women's, he gave women second-hand looking or vintage-looking clothes for women that are not going to go into a vintage shop and buy it there. I think for men, I think there's a difference because I don't think that a Balenciaga customer is necessarily the guy who's into that, or the guy who wants to go to buy vintage clothing is going to go and buy vintage clothing, if that makes
Do you really
sense.
think it looks that vintage?
Doesn't
I think
look
it looks
vintage
very
at all.
second-hand. I think it looks like, you know,
Just because it's
Oxfam,
big?
couture.
Oh.
No, just the jackets, the trousers. I mean,
doesn't
when
look
I shop for
second-hand to me.
myself, I think that's something that I can see a lot, but maybe
does-
it's just the way it's
Does
out.
Balenciaga men have a customer? They don't.
Well,
they
they
just
just
started.
don't,
So who is their customer? I have no idea. I think they're more Demna customer or Demna
But do you think that people...
aficionados.
Do you think that people the guys, again, I think there's a difference between the men and women. Do you think the guys who buy Vêtements, they're gonna go buy Balenciaga? I think that's my biggest question about it.
Well, it's a good question. I was thinking about, does it matter what the brand means? Like, and again, so is it Demna or is it Balenciaga in Vêtements? So I think it's blurred now. So if someone likes that parka, not that sweater with Kering on it, they will buy it. I don't think many people will buy a sweater with Kering on it.
I don't
Okay,
know.
so shall we maybe to kind of structure it a little bit, shall we say our immediate opinion about the stuff one by one?
Sorry, I was like, talking too much.
No,
That was
it's
like
okay.
too.
No, I think it's good.
No,
it's
it's
really like
interesting.
sparkling the discussion.
Yeah. It's a big clap.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yes, I would like to see. We're going to receive photos, right? I think it was very much in line with what we've just seen in Milan. That's like some normality, and then styled to the taste of the designer. He put some Balenciaga in it. You know, he put some hints to the shapes of the Monsieur Balenciaga fashion, which is a clever way to remind us what we're looking at. But when you watch the Milan shows, including Prada a little bit, sometimes you're like, which one is this one? Because there's more normalcy than the brand's DNA, and I think this is not that far. But I want to see it again. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I would say, if we can get Martine Rose's last collection.
Yeah, that's
out.
what I've
It looks.
literally I've been thinking and talking about it so much
looks
lately.
Very much.
So much like
this.
it, and like
I don't remember
because
it.
and I can't. I mean, I loved the show. Like I
Yeah.
love Martine Rose's show because it was like in Seven Sisters Market. It was like this like the weird like kind of weird setting. It was like you were sat inside an actual market and it was like guys walking there. And I think it made so much more sense if you can see it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you could just So I think.
Why are you so against?
No.
that?
I'm completely. I'd really like to.
But
kind
it's
of
good
like,
to have someone
yeah.
who counteract a little bit my love.
Yeah, no, but I think it looks so much like it in terms of like silhouette styling. It's also if you go down, it has like all these like puffer jackets, sporty jackets, very kind of reminiscent of it. And
But
it's
listen,
very,
that is also, you're right, but that's where fashion is
No,
going.
no,
It's
completely.
Why
No.
someone has to be completely off that.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying like it reminded me of it.
Yeah.
Which the show that I actually loved, and hence I respect the new Balenciaga show in terms of style, because I think it's very, very different than the first men's show. But I honestly still don't understand who is going to actually buy those clothes. That's my only like kind of question about it. I think, yeah, that's
Dasha, what did you think?
I don't know. I definitely see more Denmark in it than the first show. I think the silhouette is more relaxed, that there is more streetwear pieces. It's just the thing who's actually buying streetwear pieces for £600. I don't know who's gonna wear the collection. As a look, I like it. Aesthetically it's quite pleasing to look at it. To me, I don't know, but it just.
So that's quite interesting. That the question we struggle with most is who is the customer, and also I think it goes together with this interesting question of who like menswear, contemporary menswear is actually done for on the broader scale. Because is it all about vision or is it all about the product approach? So do you buy, if you invest so much money, do you just buy a jacket, or do you buy the vision, or do you buy sort of a
That's a good point.
Yeah, so
that's a good point.
I think everyone that. Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we're sitting here assuming that they all know what they're doing, but they're probably trying to figure it out as they go along, because everyone is trying to make to increase sales, to make the label more accessible. Kanye West is doing it, like he's desperate to find the ways to make his line more accessible, because everyone, Nazir Majar is like, I can't afford my own tracksuit. So Balenciaga obviously is a different level, but I don't know, I think they're probably thinking about it as well, and like just trying to find the customer.
I think sorry, I just want to finish what I was thinking about the vision and the actual garment. And that's where I think Gucci did it brilliantly, Alessandro did it brilliantly, because you want to show that you understand that Gucci is the brand of the moment, and then you buy those things that are very recognizable with a flower, a snake, a stripe, whatever. And I didn't see that very much in the Balenciaga, and I'm talking now women or also men in Gucci, but I didn't see that very much in the Balenciaga show, where if you want to buy into the vision, you need something that is recognizable without bearing the Kering logo on top of it, because that's probably a little bit too far. And I don't know, we need to see it. I don't know if that is actually there.
He had a great women's wear of like those tights /
you recognize
it. It was like amazing item because you look at it and
it's
you know exactly, one of a kind.
Exactly.
It was really like well done. But yeah,
Can we get that up? The Balenciaga, the Patagonia jacket, the Patagonia logo that says Balenciaga. And does it say 2017? I guess it does. Yeah, I think that's probably you can see like probably next Fashion Week, everyone's gonna wear it.
Yeah.
But again, like how long will it last? I'm not so sure.
But you know, when you were saying we think they know what they're doing, but maybe actually they don't. And here I talk like someone who's been on the other side many years. You know what you're doing in the sense that you set a strategy, but you never know if it's going to work. And now, these weird times that we're in, they show that everybody is like trying and firing and hiring and firing. So nobody knows if it's going to work, but everybody's trying their best. I mean, I'm saying something very trite, but you know, like you were mentioning Brioni, which I thought it was a joke when they hired the guy, and it was very nasty when they fired him, because you just don't hire someone and you don't fire anyway. And you don't let them go as far as putting up, you know, coughing in a window to then fire them 5 days later. But I think you have to keep in mind the DNA of the brand, in a sense that you have to know who you cater for. You don't have to do what, you know, Brioni did before, because otherwise, but you cannot go completely on the other hand and think that you will keep your customers.
But I don't think Balenciaga has a men's customer outside, for example, their trainers. I mean, that's what I think their piece was, that everyone was buying, and I had like an editor ages ago in Croatia who had like 10 of those like high tops, multicolored trainers. That was like their selling point for men, while for women it was the bag, you know, the ones with the things hanging from them. But I think what he's doing now, because he sees that there is no, you know, heritage of men's Balenciaga really. He's trying to bring parts of it. And I was reading an interview with Kathy Horn. He was like, I'm using like some old codes of Balenciagas and bringing my own Vêtements spin on it, which I don't think those Balenciaga codes exist for men. So he's kind of, I think, using like the women's codes and his men's men's vêtements, and mixing it into which is great, because I think a lot of these clothes are going to be bought by women. I think that's what I want to kind of talk about, like, because I don't think that guys are going to like buy that much of it. I think that girls are going to buy the Patagonia / Balenciaga jacket. And I don't think the whole
But don't you think the codes are pretty? I think they're quite. They're not that much of a difficult item by the look of them.
No,
because they're like some of them are a bit oversized, but they're tailored.
But it's quite it's not length. Everything is slightly.
You
look
like
a weird guy from
sort of Adam's Family.
Yeah, it doesn't look not attractive in a sexy in a traditional way. Yeah, everything is slightly off, and
it's got like all
it's not an item that is going to be easy to sell for a man. Like I doubt that it is. So
they do look a little bit Nazi era or Soviet era, but then it depends with what you wear. Then maybe if you don't put black boots,
but is it like
it's better.
It's also it's like an old man look for me. I don't know. This length of the coat, it's like it must be a man in his 60s. Okay. Yeah, so I wouldn't.
That's interesting.
I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Go back to the casting for a little bit. I'm going to be like maybe accused of being like racist.
No.
I think it's like he made such a point that the last look of the show was like a black guy. I think that was kind of like a.
Was that the last look?
Yeah, the one with the Balenciaga scarf.
Was that the last look?
So I'm sure he did that. I think the main point, he knows that we're talking about is he's super smart, he's super intelligent, both him and his brother. They know that we're gonna like overanalyze all this stuff and look into it so much.
And they play with it.
They play with us. They're like pointing at us and laughing at us.
But can we see that look number 5? I mean, that's just a great suit on a good-looking guy with sneakers and topless, because you need to do some
you just can't leave the trousers.
I can't leave the trousers alone.
What's the problem with the
Can
trousers?
you not see that it's like really, really? Can we get like another trouser? Or is that just how it's coming?
Why do you say that's unfitting?
You don't see it. Is it just me? Maybe it's just.
What do you tell me?
Like the ruche, there's like a whole layer here. Like I think maybe not on these ones.
Okay.
There was like after coming in.
I like look like
it's
5,
nice.
but it's normal.
Yeah.
It's just quite normal.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what menswear customers probably they do buy just normal stuff, like luxury, suit.
But do you think it's gonna sell to people that are like?
No, but the man who buys suits, they buy them from a different label. The man who have that money and they want to invest in a suit, I don't know.
Yeah, but
I
maybe
think
a modern guy, a younger and modern guy does want a suit, because everybody needs one suit, and they don't want it from Brioni or Canali or Zegna. They want it from a cool brand, and if it's well cut and well tailored and good priced, well priced.
Does Raf Simons do suits?
Yes.
He does, right? But it's like a slim look, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
But don't you think it's what you were mentioning prior to our do you think they're gonna like tone it down for the store? Do you think like if they're actually trying to sell to that guy that works maybe in like
what's
in
to
a
tone
business?
down?
Yeah, it's nothing.
I think it's like the silhouette. It is a bit like the trousers are super slim.
It
like
looks
super
normal,
slim on the
but
models.
It's
super
hard to
slim.
sell. I think it's gonna be hard. It looks but everything. It's either slightly too slim or the coat is slightly too long. So everything is normal, but it's not. Like it's a difficult silhouette to sell, I think.
But it's funny because I'm usually the one who talk about business here, but I'm more interested about the fashion here. And I think what I was expecting more was some different fashion than what I've seen before, like in his first show. And
something more of a statement.
Yeah. So got actually a brilliant piece of research and observation from the guys.
I can say the word Trump.
So basically it's not the Patagonia logo, it's a Trump logo.
Oh.
And it was
of the Trump campaign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of the parody. Yeah, parody logo. Can we find the actual Trump logo?
Yeah. It's like with the two waves. Yeah. Sorry about my miss.
So basically, it was quite I mean, I didn't notice that, but yeah, it's also
there it is.
I mean, obviously he's showing it 2 days before the inauguration, so it's quite spot on move.
Maybe Melania's gonna wear it.
But what
I mean,
oh my God, I don't want to go into Trump. I'm going to leave the company.
So this is about
I'm going to become
referenced
acid and bitter.
No, but they referenced it. It's not like we brought it up as a.
Yeah, but it's again publicity for Trump.
Well, I mean, it's by them now. No, it's fine.
So it's quite a controversial move, because it's difficult even how to start to talk about this thing.
It's Trump logo, but this military silhouettes at the same time. I don't know.
I love look number 5. I think you would look pretty in that.
Thank you. I don't think I would ever wear it.
Oh, really?
No, not because it's Balenciaga.
So what if you?
I think I would not feel comfortable. Yeah, I do, but I don't think I would feel comfortable wearing something that's so like.
What
so
kind
like,
of suits you wear?
Just like
classic.
No, I like high-waisted stuff, and then like kind of wider silhouettes, and then like But I think
Chicago in the 40s.
Exactly. No, not really. No, not that retro, but I guess a bit. But I think, for example, what he's doing is making like very bodycon clothes for men in a way, even though it's super oversized partially. But it kind of, I mean, maybe people are gonna hate me saying this, but it reminds me slightly of the whole idea of Eckhaus Latta, like the whole like shirtless guy with the suit that's like slightly like misfitted, like not super like perfectly fitted or whatever. I think it kind of reminds me of that vibe, which is good. I like Eckhaus Latta, so.
I don't know. I think it's also finding the balance between, as always, as for everyone, are you actually trying to make clothes that people are going to buy and like and feel great wearing it, or are you trying to make some sort of your own statement on the way society is at the moment? And
exactly
balancing that, it is hard, and I respect him for trying to comment on what's going on, but also like they still figuring out
that's a difficult thing. How do you comment on the crazy place modernity is at the moment?
I think
also
the whole approach, the whole Denmark's approach is a comment on it. It's not necessarily, it's like, just offering, we're sick of the old ways, so we want the new way. It's like, that's what he's about, I think.
But Gucci does it so much more, like, I'm a big fan of the Alessandro's Gucci, and I think Gucci does it also by giving people what they didn't know they actually want, all this like abundance of everything. They're like kind of commenting on the world, but without like actually putting the Trump logo and putting like a snake and an embellishment on it. I think Gucci's like. I think people are looking at Gucci as like pretty dresses and nice like brocade, but I think there's so much more into that, and like at least
it's a revolution. Yeah. Well, how did you know about? I mean, who said that about the Trump? It was in the notes, or we understood that, or?
It's also Bernie Sanders, the blue. That's Bernie Sanders logo, and people are saying that there's Trump logos in smaller.
Oh, so it's what the public has decided. They haven't put out a statement.
These are comments coming after the show's happened.
Okay.
Can we Google the
so we're not
Trump
sure that's
logo,
what
if that's
do.
okay? And Bernie and the Trump. So if we can see that would be great. Just to kind of see it next eye to eye that we're not.
So is he saying that instead of Hillary was Bernie, maybe Trump would have won?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Bernie. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, it's not as eerie. That's good. That's good.
It does look like that.
And then can we get?
But it's interesting when I was in LA when the whole like kind of Bernie Hillary thing came to a complete, and there was so many like Bernie Sanders.
Doesn't look like Trump.
Like different logos. They did like Bernie Sanders in heavy metal print. They did black flag as like Bernie. So it's like it was out there, As
because it's nothing to do with the Trump one. It's the Bernie one.
Okay, that's good that way.
Okay.
It kind of put some weight out.
I prefer that statement, but let's not.
But I feel it's like this whole game of Bernie Sanders being quite appealing to young people of some kind. It was kind of this game of logos was already in there, so I guess they sort of just picked what was already discussed, which I think is interesting.
Do you think people that like would like, or Americans that voted for Bernie, that they're gonna buy this jacket?
I don't think it matters.
No,
that much.
I mean,
No,
I'm not criticizing you. I'm trying to.
gesture towards.
I think when you do a fashion show, you have to give us your vision and what you think and your position and whatever in fashion, in life, and then the strategy to sell usually comes after, wrongly or rightly, but it comes after, and then it's the job of the managers, the merchandisers, the buyers, whatever. And he is quite clever because he didn't go too much over the top, even if, yes, it's true that such a long coat not many people can wear. But they will probably I don't know.
What did you think of the shoes and the bags? I personally quite liked the shoes because I think the shoe was like the first thing you notice when you look at the look, because the look is quite minimal, but the shoe is really like, you know, notoriously like huge sneaker and stuff. So, and to me it reminded a bit of Raf Simons, of course, yeah.
Yes.
So, and I mean, we know as for luxury brand, it's very important to draw attention to bags and shoes because this is what
I think that's how they sell. They don't sell clothes. They don't sell bags and shoes until a buyer buys clothes from them as well, so they don't.
Oh, really? Balenciaga.
You first have to buy shoes. We have to buy.
So if you buy and you come and you I just want your trainers and bags, they're like, no, you have to buy some clothes.
It's like so.
That's brilliant.
Special deal.
Because they're like so. I mean, I think they're like
Because they
so.
can.
Yeah. Because Balenciaga did so much. Like their like whole income was like from those like bags. I don't know what the name of the bag is.
Yeah, Lariat.
So it was like from that bag that all.
So does it look contemporary, successful, and so?
Like, can we get like number 14? I mean, is it just me? I'm sorry, but I don't think that at a Paris men's show the trousers should fit like that. Like, I'm sorry.
So you mean the
It's just, I'm sorry, but no one can tell me that that's
you're right.
like on
that
purpose.
One, you're right.
And there's like, you can see it on that one because it's light, but it was on most of them. I'm not like, seriously, like that's not.
Yeah, it's a weird fit, you're right.
And I'm sure they will say it's like purpose and it's like,
Yeah, but then if you look at sort of 14 versus 15, 15 is a completely different thing. It's like very huge, sort of weird.
Yeah, but see, 17, the same thing.
It's the same pattern.
Yeah, exactly.
But it can't have just missed it.
Yeah, it's probably on purpose, you know, ugly looking.
I don't know, all sorts of things happen before the fashion shows, and like people don't have time even on that level. So I think we've been deluded by, oh my God, they're Balenciaga.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing.
I mean, I've worked with great designers. They would never not notice something.
I think shit happens. I know Haider Ackerman redoes his whole collection. Like he cuts that, he trims. After he sees it on the catwalk, he literally changes like half of the length, sleeve length, and then it goes to the buyers after he made all the adjustments.
Yeah, but sometimes also when it arrives and you fit it on models, you're like, it just doesn't work. And so you've got tailors all night redoing things. That happens before as well.
I don't know.
Especially when you have the means to pay for top tailors doing it at night.
I like the silhouette, for example, of 23 and 24. Personally, like that.
The scarf really reminds me of a plastic bag pattern, don't you think? Or is it just me?
Which one?
You know, literally like
I think it
23,
is probably.
24, the scarf is like, I don't know, I just see plastic bags like this.
I just want to know if that
Velvet
Balenciaga shopping bag is leather
going to be sold.
or it's paper.
Yeah. I think also
because if he made that in leather, sorry, that's quite funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
It goes with the carrying jump.
I don't know, because basically people who will want to buy in Vetements or in Balenciaga, people who want to say we're anti-establishment and we're into subversing and questioning things, but do you really have to spend £1,000 in order to say those things or to claim that you're anti-something? Then you're really like giving in to capitalistic ways.
But that's what they're kind of trying to prove a point.
So I don't know if that's like going to work.
I think what they're doing is kind of like, once again, I'm being boring with this, but I think they're like making fun of us who are analyzing it, and also people who want to buy it, as in like, they're making fun of their own customer.
Yeah, people are that stupid.
But if you
I don't know. I disagree.
Anti-capitalist and you want to be a militant,
just to believe.
You choose a different profession.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's
so you can have your idea and be social, whatever. But then, as he says, it's vêtements. I mean, this is Balenciaga, but it's just clothes and it's just fashion. So
I think it's a very, it kind of sits on this interesting border of, I think that fashion is facing this problem right now when you can't not be political, you cannot afford not be political. So you want to comment on politics and bring it up somehow, but also you have to produce desirable items. So like, I think
sell for a lot of money.
Yeah, this is the same thing I think I saw with Gosh Rubchinskiy, what he did, because he commented on political issues one way or another, but also he has to produce stuff which is going to sell.
But his comment on his past show in Russia was very political.
Oh yeah,
a little bit too political for my taste.
I mean, it was, I don't want to get into I think I've too much to say about that. Yeah, no, so I'm not going to. I really want to see what the kind of typography is, because I'm sure that it's like referencing something as about, we can't obviously see the details, but I really wondering, I'm sure, like, all the flags and stuff like that. But yeah, I think some of the silhouettes are really nice, but again, like, I don't know which. Yeah, I don't know. I think my problem is like, what guy is gonna pay like probably £400 or £500 for trousers that they're gonna like look like they're badly made. And I want to come back to that thing what you were saying about like, it must have been like noticed prior to the show, of course. But I think he probably saw it on the first pattern he made, and he was like, "Oh, this kind of looks cool. So let's do like a whole session."
So like it.
Yeah, exactly. If you like that, it's. But again, like, is it a show or is it like a piece that you're gonna buy?
So maybe as we're short on time, maybe if you have any final comments about, were you convinced by it or not? Did you like it? Did not like it? What's your verdict?
I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't like, oh my god, I saw the best show. But I don't dislike it. I think there's some statement that I like, some statement about Balenciaga, some fabrics, some shapes. There's some fashion that I like, but I'm a bit surprised by the normality of it.
What do you think?
Now that I'm like kind of like stepping aside from it, I am slightly like underwhelmed, because like I don't think I've seen anything new or exciting that is going to like make me want to go and either buy it or like shoot it for like a story or whatever. I'm not convinced by it, but maybe I'll let some time.
Yeah, I guess I'll second that. Because it's neither statement pieces, no, it's something that it's very commercial. So but I guess it's like an experiment as well. It's a second show, so I'm sure in a couple of seasons he will like find a stronger voice because it's Denmark. So
can we I just want to add one thing. I think what's interesting, because Balenciaga mostly for like magazines, they like shoot full looks. Yeah. So I think from like the runway itself, so I really want to see like how that's going to translate, because I'm not that convinced by the looks themselves. I think they would maybe be fun for styling, but as I said, like Balenciaga does kind of insist, not always.
Men's as well, they have the same rule.
I think so.
I also don't think, saying I said that it's Demna, so he'll find a way, but also I don't know as an outsider how much of power Balenciaga actually has over, because that's what's happened probably with Nicolas Gisquier. They didn't give the complete freedom to do what he wanted to do, I guess.
For 10 years.
New management though.
I think
new CEO, new management, I think.
So
it's a totally new era.
Don't you think that he has so much freedom?
Yeah, it looks like.
Like aesthetically, maybe not like, in resources, which I'm sure he doesn't, because he.
I don't know, but when Christopher Kane became a part of Kering, right, he became much more commercial and kind of boring in a way. But I guess, so I don't know how much these people have freedom over their creative output for the labels, really.
You're never completely free when you belong to a big group. I mean, but I think Demna's got some freedom.
I think financially, I don't think he does
so
that much.
But he's still Demna. He can still do what he wants until you don't. I mean, look what happened with Nicolas. It was amazing, and then suddenly they thought it wasn't commercial anymore.
Yeah.
So whatever.
So to me, I don't know. To me, it looked like it's a way to something. I don't know to what. It's like going somewhere, but I think maybe looking at separate pieces, you'll be able to dissect this more, like both what he wants to say as a statement and what the items exactly look like. But I think it's gonna have influence on how people dress, and also it gave us something like good material for a heated discussion for a whole hour. So let's give him a round of applause.